Practical Shorter here, coming at you with the fourth and final installment of the Century Red Army Standard 47 Stamped AK videos that I've been making. I just got this rifle past 1,000 rounds yesterday. Got it home, cleaned it up, and here in a minute we're going to go ahead and dive into the rifle and take a look at what I saw. So I'm going to start on the outside, work my way in. But what I want to preface is that I will be selling this rifle. I do not believe that this rifle will last another 1,000 to 2,000 rounds, 2,000 being a very generous estimate. The reason why is simply because the bolt is just getting a little torn up. Could I replace the bolt? Yes, but for me, what I'm looking at in replacing the bolt is a new bolt, maybe sending it back to Century, having them do it, but to me that just restarts the clock. I know that by the time I hit 2,000 to 3,000 rounds, I'm going to start having big issues. And I'll show you why I say big issues here in a second, and once we get inside. But let's call a spade a spade. This is a very well-built, very, very accurate AK. And I really, really hope that Century Arms can figure out their bolt and bolt carrier issues, because the rest of the gun is awesome. I mean, look, if y'all been following, you know that the rear sight adjuster fell off when I yeehawed this thing. That means throwing for anyone not from the Southwest. When I threw this, it broke off. Well, hell, I still shoot it, and it still shoots accurately. I just got to aim high. It's a good gun. I don't want people to sit here and think I'm bashing the gun. It's not a bad gun. It's just one piece in the gun, which is important, does not have my vote of confidence. So let's go ahead and dive on in. All right, so with our bolt out and our dust cover removed, let's go ahead and take a look at the internals here. So one thing I wanted to talk about, be it that this is my final video, I wanted to discuss the trigger. The trigger in this rifle is very smooth. Very smooth. I like it a lot. It's not a very heavy trigger. I'm more used to heavy, nasty, ugly triggers that are pretty hard to use. This one actually had a tendency to surprise me. But as you can see, everything in there looks pretty good, wear-wise. Century Arms did make this trigger. They said they redesigned all this, and they do use wolf springs. All this stuff back here is pretty good. And to go forward, a lot of folks were saying that you know, these are cast trunnions. We can't avoid that. That is true. However, mine look good. We want to get in here and take a look. Y'all can see what I'm talking about. And this rifle, for anyone who wants to know, is a 5200 serial number. So someone who might know a little bit more about when Century started changing things might know what that means as far as, you know, the heat treatment that was done. And back here on the rear trunnion, everything looks really good. So while we're here, I guess we could talk about one of the most annoying things that happened, and not Century's fault. Well, it might be. I don't know if they decided not to put Loctite on this. So if I, hang on. I got this little screw right here underneath the rear stock cover. This little bastard wiggles loose all the fucking time. I don't really think it has any Loctite on it. All my stuff is at a storage shed, kind of hard to get to, so I haven't really bothered with it. But I do really like the MOE stock that's on here. It's pretty nice, and it's got a good spot. I've been running a looped Vickers sling, and I bought my Vickers sling like a couple of days before the AK ones went on sale, so I just running my own little adapter there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to the bolt and carrier. Okay, so diving inside the rifle, I've got the bolt carrier here. Let's just go ahead and talk about this. This is not an X-marked carrier. So these are supposed to be the ones with less heat treatment or an improper heat treatment. I'm not sure exactly how they said it. I know that the process changed once they added the X. So if your rifle has that, supposedly the heat treatment is better. But call a spade here. This is not a bad bolt carrier. I'm getting a little bit of mushrooming here on the back. That was the discovery that we came across in the third video. And then I do have a little bit here, a little bit of a deformation, which I could live without, but I don't think that's the end of the world. Going up front here, you can see what's actually happened up here is that the bolt carrier has beat the shit out of itself up against the front trunnion. And if you look at the front trunnion, it's actually got like a corresponding shape. So again, not the end of the world. I don't really think that's a big issue, but because we're in here, I'm mentioning it. And you can see a little bit of that mushrooming. You can see that. You can see there's a flat surface on there. So bolt carrier, not all that bad. If this was all the issues I was having with it, I wouldn't feel the way I do. But we get to the bolt, and this is where I get uncomfortable. Now, some folks did say that the tail of their bolt was all jacked up. Keep in mind, this is a 5000 series serial number. So this would be right when they started making changes. You can see I'm turning it. You can't see any kind of deformation. I'm trying to turn it real smooth there for you. So the tail of my bolt is good. However, I get up to the front, and you can see I've got some pretty nasty wear on this locking lug. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's actually changed the locking surface angle. It's actually gone from being square to being curved. You can sort of see it right there. See, it's actually got a taper to it now. I don't really like that because I'm worried that the bolt is going to shift once the load from the recoil hits it. And I don't know what's going to happen there, so I'm just uncomfortable with it. It is kind of gouged here. We talked about pitted metal and stuff before. That has continued. After this last range session, many of these surfaces actually took on a highly polished appearance, which that in and of itself is not such a big deal, but definitely showing us where it's getting wear. You can see here, this is another locking surface, and it's getting chipped up too. That's not, like metal to metal brush wear. That's chipping. The metal is chipping on this locking surface and on that locking surface. Here on our camming surface, everything looks pretty good. We got a little bit of wear. It's not too bad. It's settled down. Again, we got these funky looking wear marks up here. Actually, I think they look kind of cool. Let me see if I can find the place on here. Right here. See that line? It's glinting right there. What that is when the bolt is riding in the rifle, as such, it turns over and cams to lock, and that is actually the trunnion contacting the bolt and causing that scar. Again, definitely not the end of the world. That's just a camming lug, so as long as the camming surfaces look good, which these ones do, that's not a problem. But again, it comes back down to the angle on the locking surface is changing, them actually getting a slight taper. I don't believe this rifle would survive another 2,000 rounds without needing headspace to be worked on. And life expectancy of 3,000 rounds just isn't enough for me.